Leadership. That's what Anna Bligh is showing through this. She's been one of the most impressive things to come out of the floods and the disaster in Queensland. She looks like a leader. She sounds it. She's right across the issues and the facts, and even allows herself to show a little bit of emotion at times, which I think is a brave thing to do and a sensible thing to do. When she broke down today, she apologised. She doesn't need to apologise. And when she has gone to the trouble of congratulating Queenslanders and the emergency services on the way they're working and what they're doing and admiring their resilience, I think it shows real leadership that will help people through. Anna Bligh is marking herself as one of the great leaders of Australian political history, because if you can lead well in a crisis like this, you are a great leader.
All right, we're back. We're back there with Brian Shaw from Elijah's Challenge. Brian, good morning to you. Thanks for coming on Radio Skid Row 88.9 FM.
Good morning, Jack.
Now, look, we're talking about mortgages, rent. We're talking about the courts actually being Masonic lodges, which is interesting because it seems to be very intimidated. There's something weird about it. And then we were talking about the Crown being taken out of Western Australia, which is just destroys the whole constitution altogether if it is supposedly a Australian constitution. And we just had the Queensland elections just happen in the state of Queensland, or the Brigalow Corporation, or whatever you want to call it. And Anna Bligh, we just had someone on there saying Anna Bligh is the most bestest. He was just sort of like, saying that she was a great premier of the state of Queensland, and she got booted, a big boot. Now, I don't know if people have got short memories because of the petrol subsidies, because Queensland was quite in a good role of that and she cut that out, or is the fact that people are waking up and seeing right through it? What's your thing?
Jack, let me just say, the average Aussie is a bloody village idiot. A bloody village idiot.
Why is that? Why is that, Brian?
Because this whole election thing is just an absolute piece of bullshit. Because if the Crown is out of West Australia, can West Australia vote?
Can West Australia vote? No, they can't, because it'd be...
Then if the Crown is out of West Australia, does that cause a problem in Queensland if Queensland's a federated state?
Yes.
Well, there you are. That's why the Aussies are bloody idiot. While they keep walking into polling booths, they're actually creating their own trap.
So what's the use of going in the polling booth, especially
what they should do is cop the $80 fine and then go to court and say why they didn't go to that polling booth.
Now, we've got to...
And suddenly you've got the judiciary jammed up with a number of Aussies saying, no, we are not participating in the fraud of your bullshit trap.
That's it. Well,
that's exactly it. I had a couple of farmers from Gippsland the other day bellyaching to me about, we've got a lot of... And I said, why are you bellyaching? Why don't you do something? Get into the courtroom. Just walk in and get into the courtroom.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't afford lawyers. I said, mate, drive your ute out of Gippsland and park it in the main street out the front of the courtroom and leave it there all day. You'll get a $60 parking fine, and that'll put you in the court to say, why did you park your ute there? And leave it there all day. That gives you the reason then to say, well, I'm glad you've raised the question. Now I've got a few issues, and it's going to cost you $60.
You could charge the court, couldn't you?
You can't charge the court like that. But the moment, it's what you call, Jack, if you want to trap someone stealing your car, and let's do the little scenario, you've left your car in a car park, you've dropped the keys. You know the guys are watching the keys, but you just walk over to the exit gate because you know that pretty soon they're going to pick those keys up and get in your car and drive it over to the gateway. At what point did they commit the offence? When they looked at the keys, picked up the keys, or started your car or drove your car? At what point was the offence committed?
Well, I'd say when they're stuck, they're in your car, your property, and have taken off.
Correct. Which means that if you want to, trap the court, you have to let them make the offence right there in front of you first. They have to commit the offence. So you bring an issue to the court hasn't yet committed the offence until the actual issue is right there on the bench in front of them, and now they're going to conceal it. At that point, they've committed the offence. Even if you can't charge them, you can do an affidavit and return it back to the court that this is what occurred and this is what happened. Now, when you're talking about the Queensland election, there were some farmers out of Gippsland that put the Queenslanders on legal notice prior to that. Legal notice is where you give them a legal notice prior to committing an offence that you're about to break some serious law if you do this, this and this. Now, they went ahead and did all that, which you know they're going to do. But now that legal notice becomes very, very important because they all knew, including the Queen of England, that legal notice was to the Queen of England. It was to the Governor-General. It was to the Premier. It didn't say which Premier, either Blight or Newman. It was to the Governor. It was to the Attorney-General of Queensland. It was to Kevin Rudd, a Queenslander. It was to Wayne Swan, a Queenslander. And it was to Bob Catter, a Queenslander.
What do you think of Bob Catter?
Well, he has committed serious indictable offences.
He's a bit of a Mason himself, actually.
Well, I can't say that, Jack, because I don't know. But what I'm actually saying is...
I've seen some handshakes.
If he formed a political party where they have to pay money to join that party...
Oh, the Australian Club.
Did he inform every one of those members who nominated into that political party that the crown had been removed? Then he's obtaining property by deception. And that's a criminal offence on its own, let alone everything else that escalates it. So both Bob Catter and his son are sitting there like the dumb Aussie at the moment, and they are the dumb Aussie, because the dumber Aussie is the one who put him into the position. And that's the one sitting on the trains this morning, probably listening to what you're saying.
Look, everyone's not dumb. As long as you're aware and you're listening to Brian Shaw in the morning.
There's a difference between being aware, Jack.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Okay, let me give it to you an example.
Go on.
You're having a little picnic in a picnic ground and somebody says, I think the tree is going to fall on your head. Are you aware, Jack?
Yes, well, no, I'm not. Since you've been aware, I'm aware now.
Okay, then if I tell you the tree is going to fall on your head, what do you think you would do?
Well, hopefully by faith and the person's trust, I would move out of the way or I'd look up and get hit.
Now, no. Well, essentially, yes. But what you're actually saying is your awareness will create an action. Well, where the hell are the people with the action?
Well, there's just sucking on beers, watching footy season, and going to work docile.
Okay, then you get my point.
No, I do.
My point is,
yeah.
An awareness is bullshit. If there's no action that goes with it.
Yeah.
That's my point. And the average person doesn't know how to make that action happen. It's very easy. If you want to go into a courtroom situation, find a plaintiff, that has probably got a healthcare card and no assets. Brilliant plaintiff. Do you know why?
Why?
No application costs and no cost orders. They're useless if they've got a pension card and they're very good. And then you just stand up and represent them.
Now, Brian, with all this, Australia is going into a liberal, which I know and you yourself know that it doesn't matter anyway, Liberal or Labor. But
Can I just interrupt you there for a minute?
Yep, sure.
No, it's not liberal. It's socialism.
Socialism, liberal.
Now, what? No, forget the word liberal because they're all in socialism.
Yeah.
Now, wherever socialism came into this country, and it's now moved to national socialism because it has got bipartisan consent. There's no such thing as a Labor Party, a Liberal Party, a Greens Party, or whatever. They're all in the same pot. They're absolutely in a conspiracy to defraud the Aussie.
Yeah, well, they're putting out the rights and bills as it is as we speak. Well, they've been like this. Well, it has been so. We've got a socialist healthcare. We're having more laws put upon us that are keeping us.
Can I interrupt you there, Jack?
Yeah, you can.
I watched a very good movie the other day, and I would suggest some of your listeners go down to their DVD shop and see if they can get it.
What's it called? Oh, it's on DVD. Yep.
Judgment at Nuremberg.
Yeah, what's that one called? Well, what? The Nazi one.
No, what it is that the four German judges were placed on trial for permitting the laws to be changed without fixing it at the judiciary level. Magnificent movie for what's happening in Australia. Spencer Tracy was the leading judge from America that went into the trial.
Oh, yes, I've heard about this one. I haven't seen it.
And Bert Lancaster was the leading German judge that was placed on trial. But the issues raised in that courtroom are exceptionally important to what's occurring in this country now, because the judiciary is in the same condition right now as those German judges. They are not protecting the people of Australia under their constitution, because I said to a judge in the county court the other week, I said, we have our football ground here, we're playing on this, we call it the Constitution. What you've done is run across the boundary line into another playing field altogether and then assumed a jurisdiction, and I said, in any other game, you're ruled out of bounds. That's a fair comment, wasn't it?
I'd say, I reckon it would be.
Well,
Definitely.
Even the average Aussie could understand that. And as I said to a judge the other day, I said even a dyslexic high school student would understand what you've done if you permit it to be given aired in front of them.
Yeah, extended the boundaries.
And they would understand. But what you're trying to do is close the courts, conceal the matter. Do you know how you have to go to the High Court today, Jack?
How do you get to the High Court?
No. The moment you raise a constitutional matter, the court knows it's out of jurisdiction.
Right.
And it's got to then, what you call, pass it to the next level. So it sends you into the appeal processes, i.e. it can rule against you because it knows you're going to climb higher each time.
Yeah.
Well, essentially, in a every court says we can't rule on a constitutional matter, which is correct. So it's ultimately got to find its way into the High Court. Now, when you go to apply to go to the High Court, purportedly on appeal, what do you have to do, Jack?
Don't know.
You've got to apply for leave to appeal.
Leave to appeal? What do you mean? What do you mean, leave to appeal?
Well, the court has to grant you leave to lodge an appeal, which means they have a little mini hearing to see if they're going to let you in.
Yeah,
Excuse the expression, Jack.
Yeah.
Is that in the Constitution?
No, it's not in the Constitution. It's
should it be a right to just go to the appeal?
No, but I've seen them do it, actually.
Do what?
What you've just said. Just go in the back there, make their decision, and come back out.
You only have to look at the listings of the High Court. Yeah. There'll be probably 10 or 12 listed in a day, and it'll all say leave to appeal refused.
Yeah, it's all fixed. This whole law thing is just to keep us the workers working.
Well, then, Jack, let me ask you a question.
All right.
How do you make the High Court judges accountable?
How do you make them accountable?
Now, do they know the Crown's gone?
No.
No, they do.
Can I? Do they know? That's
Jack,
the thing.
Who's the Chief Justice of the High Court?
Who's the Chief Justice?
Robert French.
Oh yeah, Frenchie.
Where'd he come from?
Where?
West Australia.
So he knows that the...
Well, Jack, he came from West Australia. He's a judge. Do you think the guy's a village idiot? He's not a village idiot. He's a plant sent out of West Australia to make sure no one interrupts that program at the High Court level. So the moment he went onto the bench, he automatically caught all the other judges in concealing his treason.
He's an invalid player.
The whole of the High Court is.
Yeah.
The whole of the High Court is. And if people continue to submit to the High Court, and I'm actually saying you have to, but you have to then show the High Court. I'll give you an example. I had a judge the other day saying, Mr. Shaw, you have to abide by this section of the Supreme Court Act before I said, no, that's a test you're trying to apply, but I'll give you a test you have to jump over before you even apply that one. Now, the test I gave him, and he wanted to know what it was, and this comes out of Section 34 of the Crimes Act Commonwealth, a judge or magistrate exercising federal jurisdiction with a personal interest, 2 years jail. I said, that's a fair hurdle for you to jump over. You've got to jump that one before you get back to the Supreme Court Act.